Taste of Passover has always been about the bittersweet, mixing the matzah of freedom with the maror of slavery and pain and heartache. The idea is, Bechol dor vador omdim aleinu lechalotenu, as we sang last night. The story of Passover continues from generation to generation as we face modern-day pharaohs who stand against us to destroy us. Some years we feel that more intensely than others. Last year and this year in particular have been years where we have felt the immensity of that pain. With a war still going on in Israel, with stories of loss and heartbreak, with hostages that have still not been reunited with their families. It's a very, very difficult Passover, one where it's difficult to hold on to the hope of redemption. But it's the resilience of our people that insists year after year to maintain the courage and the strength to hope in a better future. And this morning, we have a very special speaker who we're very honored to have with us at Beth Tikvah this morning. I want to thank Lou Greenbaum for connecting us with Hannie Ricardo. Lou saw Hannie speak in Aventura, right, in Florida, and had the idea, because the Nova exhibition is going to be coming to Toronto very soon, to have someone speak from the heart about what happened that day at the Nova Music Festival. And you're going to hear a difficult story today about a mother, about a daughter, about an incredible human being who was murdered in cold blood, just wanting to have a good time with her friends and enjoy life. This is a difficult conversation, so anybody who's feeling emotionally weak, just brace yourself for what might be a tough conversation with what we call in Hebrew em shakula, a mother who lost her daughter. Let me tell you a bit about Hannie. Her daughter Oriya was 22 years old. 26 when she was murdered on October 7th. Her friends and her tried to flee from the massacre, but they were ambushed and killed near Kibbutz Mefalsim. In the wake of this unimaginable loss, Hannie turned to music as a way to process grief and honor her daughter's memory. She dedicated to Oriya the composition Kaddish Oriya and the Terezin Ghetto, a piece she had originally begun to commemorate the composers. Who were imprisoned in the Terezin Ghetto during the Holocaust. The work weaves together the pain of two tragedies, then and now, as a powerful act of remembrance and resistance against anti-Semitism. It premiered exactly 1 year after Oriya's murder at the Tel Aviv Performing Arts Center. Since then, Hannie has continued to speak out through music, exhibitions, and public appearances, keeping her daughter's memory alive and bearing witness to the horrors of October 7th. She shares her personal story to remind the world of the human cost of hate and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. I'd like to call up Hannie Ricardo and introduce her to our congregation. We have tried to be connected emotionally as much as possible to what's going on in Israel and what you've been feeling. And we're so honored that you're here with us today. And we're looking forward to listening to your story, to learning from you, and to giving you a big hug from from our whole community.
Start?
Chag Sameach.
Not too sameach. I choose to call it by the name, we say Chag Chirut. Chirut in Hebrew means freedom. And we call Pesach Chag HaChirut. And I'm afraid I don't have a place for Simcha. I collect moments and days like the one I had on Friday, but I'm not a happy person.
So tell us a little bit about the story of your daughter, about her life, about...
Well, I would like, if I may, to start with the person I was prior to October 7. I'm an Israeli, born and raised in Israel, born in Jerusalem actually, and I lived for 5 years in New York up until October 7th. I was there singing, performing, writing, working on my dissertation in singing and ethnomusicology, researching the topic of Jewish composers during the Holocaust, those who didn't survive the Holocaust. My thesis is music under trauma. Yeah, prior to October 7th. And on October 6th, 2023, I was the happiest person on earth. I had a wonderful job in Manhattan, teaching music, history, Hebrew in Chabad and Yeshiva University, enjoying everything that the big city had to offer, still does. And at noon, the time I usually spoke with my daughter, we had this 1 hour and a half of happy talk. We spoke about everything and anything. She learned that she has a ticket to come to New York on December when I had finished my semester. And she was thrilled, telling me that she was in a wonderful concert in Masada the day before, and she was planning to go to the party. She didn't have a ticket yet. It was 7 p.m. And actually she ended the conversation saying, "Oh, Mom, I have to go. I need to get the ticket." I said, "Okay, just take care and we'll speak tomorrow." Later on that day, it was almost 10 to midnight New York time. I got a message from a friend, "Look what we woke up to." And he sent me a photo with all the missiles in the air. And it was, close to 7 in the morning, so I immediately sent a message to my daughter. I was sure she was in her place in Ramat Gan, just asking if everything is okay. That was the drill. Every time we had missiles in Israel, the alarm went off. I used to send a message and ask if everything okay with her sister. And when she didn't answer, I asked her to call me when she woke up. And then I went to sleep. 2 hours later, I got a phone call from Israel. Woke me up at 1:46. That was 8:46 Israel time, telling me that Oriya is missing. I said, "What do you mean missing?" You don't get that. What do you mean missing? I went to sleep knowing everything is okay. And I looked at my phone and I saw that there was a message from her a minute before, 1:45, 8:45 Israel time, saying, "Mom, I love you very much." So I got up immediately and I sent her a message back, "Oriya, what's going on? Call me." But that message stayed with one check mark. It never got to her. So I know more or less the details, that she probably was dead by 1:46 or close to that. She knew she's not going to go out of this alive. over that day, I was madly trying to find information about the whereabouts because she was missing. Lists of names were starting to go online. Survivors that managed to get to safe places, and I looked for Oriya's name. I was terrified, really terrified. There's nothing, I mean, there are worse things, but to worry about your kid, not knowing where she was, and not be able to help. This feeling is horrible. And altogether I tried to find a flight back to Israel, which was very, very hard. And while I was looking for information about Oriya, I got the information, what we knew already at that time. She went to the party with two of her best friends, Shachar Mansour and his girlfriend Sharon Refai. And they left pretty early. They left the party immediately where the missile started. They just didn't wait. They just went in the car. And I have a footage of them going to the car. That's the last thing of her alive. And they went into the car and started to drive on the road 232, which we all call now the death trap. They didn't know what was going to happen. They just thought it was missiles. But when they got to Kibbutz Mefalsim, the terrorists were already waiting, and they just sprayed with machine guns all of the cars. Shachar was hit immediately and fatally wounded, lost control of the car, and it ended up on the side of the road where he eventually died. And Oriya and Sharon tried to call the police, tried to call Mad'a, and there is a recording of Oriya talking, say, come and help us, they're coming to kill us. And the last call she had to Mad'a, and she said, don't hang up, stay with me, don't hang up. And that was it. So on Sunday, where they found Shachar's body, the girls were not there. So speculations were that they were kidnapped or hiding somewhere. I chose to believe that she's hiding. And she was still missing when I went on my flight on Sunday afternoon, October 8th, and I arrived in Israel on October 9th in the morning, and she was still missing. Oriya's boyfriend, mom, she's a very good friend of mine, said that I should come over to stay with them. And we planned their wedding. He didn't go to the party, he had a bad knee, and he was not there, luckily. And we planned their wedding. I wouldn't think of anything else. I thought I have to think positive and cling to good stuff. And along with that, we located her phone, and we realized that it's not too far from the car where Shachar was murdered. And her boyfriend's sisters tried to arrange a group that will go and look for her the day after, October 10th. But the army said no. The area was not cleared yet, and there were still terrorists going there for quite some time after. But her boyfriend, when he realized that no one is going to look for the missing people, made his decision, took his car, and drove there. So what I'm telling you now, it's what he told me, and by miracle he got out of there alive. half hour after they left, there was the terrorists came and there was quite a battle there. But he found Shachar's car, and he looked around, and he said that the photo with all the cars burned on the road. So this is where he went to look for Oriya. This is where she was, the car. And he looked around and he didn't know where to go. It's a huge area. It's an open field. And he just went to the car. He was very afraid. Started to drive, and he stopped. He said that he doesn't know why he stopped there, but he got out of the car and just started to walk. It's about 100 meters from Shachar's car, behind a tree. He found Oriya's body. He's not okay. He couldn't call me, so he called my daughter, Yahali, and I will never forget her voice, crying over the phone, "Mom, she's dead, Mom, she's dead," repeating that again and again and again. And I remember myself screaming and falling to the ground. Later, it took some time, and my friend took me over to see my daughter, and I started a completely different life. The first few days, I somehow managed. I guess I didn't really understood it for the fullest, what's happened. So I think that part of me still doesn't believe that she's gone. But the fact is that she is gone. And it took a few days before the army knocked on the door. Along with Oriya, there were 5 trucks of bodies, of black bags, plastic bags with bodies of young people that all they wanted is to go and dance. And they all were brutally murdered, some more than others. So 5 trucks with bodies, maybe more, ended up in the morgue that day. So it took time before they could identify all the bodies. Saturday morning, a week later, the army knocked on the door. And I knew, the minute you see the army, you know exactly what they're going to say. And unfortunately, we live in Israel, so that happens quite a lot. And as I said, I lived all my life in Israel, but the last 5 years. And although I knew she was gone, when the army came, it was unbearable. And again, it's a delegation. You have social workers, and you have a doctor, and you have a nurse, and you have the army officers. A lot of people were around. And again, I fell to the ground. And I was crying, I was shouting, and in a certain point I couldn't breathe, so they called Magen David, and I found myself with a mask, oxygen, trying to help me get hold of myself. I don't remember much of it, but months later, Oriya's boyfriend's sister came to me and said, "Do you remember what you said when you were lying down on the floor, hardly breathing, So now I don't remember. And then she said that with all the crying and shouting, I took off the mask. I shouted, "But I will live." With all the pain, with all the agony, lying on the floor at the lowest point of my life, I decided, I chose to live. I didn't know back then how hard it's going to be, but the decision was made. And then the next day, the funeral and the Shiva, and I found out how hard it is. That even if in my mind I was keeping strong in a way, the body talked. The body started to collapse. I'm still paying the price physically. But mentally, the decision was there. I'm going to live. And I started to speak about Oriya. I stopped asking questions. I remember in one of the first interviews I gave, it was a day after, on October 11th, he asked me if I can see myself going back to life and be happy. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to live. I simply didn't know. And part of me just stopped asking questions. I just did. I was always a doer, always did a lot of things. I created, whatever, like a phoenix, always creating myself from the ashes, I don't know. This time it's from the ashes. So I just did. I didn't ask how, I didn't ask why. I simply went on doing things. Whatever my heart wishes, I did. And I decided that I'm going on with my studies. And I traveled for a year back and forth from New York, Israel. I did finish the year in New York at Hunter College. And I'm proudly saying that I'm a straight A student. Even that, someone told me, you have to say it. You should be proud of this. It's not easy to be a straight A, especially in my situation, but I am. And then the second time I came in February, when I came back to Israel, after I finished the semester, I felt the urge to write. I woke up one morning and I said, the Kaddish, I have to do something with the Kaddish. I have to take the Kaddish. I started, I had few bars, not too much, and it's going to be dedicated for Oriya, Kaddish Oriya. And as I'm researching the music of Terezin for over 2 decades, her entire life, she heard me talking about Terezin and Terezin. And I decided it's going to be Oriya's Kaddish. And within 5 weeks, I finished the piece. It's altogether it's 26 minutes long. And while I was writing it, I went to New York again to do my second semester. And this is the first time I met with Nova. I met already with the families. We met already in November, and the mother who established this meeting, she also lost her daughter, and we became very close friends. And I became friends with other family members of other kids. And in New York, I met with the Nova. That was my first meeting with the Nova. They were putting on the exhibition, the first exhibition outside of Israel. And I just went there. I needed to see what they were doing. And one thing led to another, and I found myself being there every day since the first day of the exhibition for a whole month. The minute they opened up until the minute they closed down, I was there by my daughter's photo, telling her the story of my incredible daughter, who was the definition of light, literally. Her name is Oriya, which in Hebrew means the light of God. And she was certainly my light in life. Beautiful inside and out. And I shared this story, what I told you about her last hours, and what a joy she brought into everybody's life before that. And one day, as I was standing there, a young lady came to me, petite, and she asked, "Are you Hannie?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And then she started to cry and say, "Slicha," means forgive me. I said, "For what?" She said, "For the fact that I came out alive and your daughter didn't." I hugged her and I found myself telling her that I'm happy that she came out. And I asked her to tell her mother that I'm happy for her, that she has the ability to hug her daughter. And I asked her to give her a hug for me, as if my daughter was still there. And at that moment I understood that I have a mission. I have to be there for the survivors. Because to hear from all the therapists that it's okay that they got out of there, it's not the same as if someone like me, that my daughter didn't, telling them that it's okay for them to live, and I want them to live. And they know I was there in New York for the survivors, and since I came back in May of 2023, a year ago, I came back to Israel. I attended all the community days for the survivors, and I earned the title Mama Nova. This is how they call me. Everybody knows who's Mama Nova, and they know that my house is open 24/7. Even if I'm not there, they know where the key is, so they can come in, have coffee, sit in the garden, have their cigarettes, they know where the beers are, they know everything. And for me to be able to help them to save one person, and I know they are a wreck. We had a lot of suicide among them, also among the parents. To stand up and talk is hard, believe me. So I pick up myself every day and I choose to live. And I don't know how to live without do something and be there for others. And this is what I choose to be. And I realized that my ability, my gift to talk, to be in front of people, is something I have to use for my people, my Jewish people. Because as I said before, it's different to hear, for the survivors to hear someone like me say, "I'm happy you're alive and you have all the right to live and be happy." I think that when a mother in my position come to you as a congregation and tell you it's possible and we have to stand up and we have to stand tall, it sounds a little different. And this is why I'm doing this. So I want, a year ago, on Yom HaZikaron, I was invited by the Israeli consulate to speak. And I wanted to read to you a part of it, if I may. It's just a part of the speech. It was pretty long. Although they gave me 4 minutes, I took my time. But it's just a part of it, and I think it's very important. He said, never again is to make your voice heard, individually and in groups. Never again means it is time to take responsibility, face the voices calling for our destruction, and fight this in any way possible. Never again, it means you do not ignore the signs before you, dismiss them as it will pass, because it will not unless you do something. Never again means you recognize and understand that the Islamic terrorism is the Nazi oppressor of the 21st century, and all those students, professors, and their ardent support are just like Hitler's brown shirts, who controlled the street with terror and extreme violence, using the Jews as an excuse. All of them are terror supporters, and we need to address them as such. And I say that this is our time to say, and not only to say never again. Never again is quite empty of content. We need to put the content in there and stand up, stand tall. And I say, if I can do it, everyone else can too, and should. And I will go back to the Kaddish, if I may. Part of being a bereaved mom is to be left alone with tons of love that I didn't know what to do with. Now I want to share it with her, but she's not there, and I can't share it with her. So I found myself putting all my love in the notes, all my longing in the music, and all my pain in the harmonies. And I created this Kaddish. And while I was writing it, I realized that, as I said, Oriya is my daughter, and all the others are my kids. They are my children as well. And there is no way I'm writing a Kaddish for my daughter without remembering all the other 430 victims. So there is a part, 7 minutes of it altogether, where there is a recording of my voice reading all the names. And there is a video with the names and photos of the victims, and the choir sings Yitgadal v'Yitkadash Shemeh Rabbah to my music. After that, there is the call for Oriya, where there is animation bringing Oriya back to life for just a moment there. And this, I wrote the lyrics for that part. It's a mixture of the Kaddish lyrics and my lyrics and my music. And it says, Oriya, can you hear me? It is me calling you, and I miss you, and I carry a prayer to you. And then all the choir comes in saying, Asi shalom aleinu, al kol Israel, v'nomar amen. And it's a very beautiful part, and the part where I wasn't supposed to sing it. I wrote the piece for a soprano, and I knew exactly who I wanted to sing the solo part. But then a month before, on September 7th actually, I said, there's no way this Kaddish will be sung, and I won't be there calling for my daughter. So on October 7th, on 6:29 in the evening, we were at the Opera House in Tel Aviv. I created a choir of 65 members with a wind ensemble, and I was there on stage calling for my daughter. And just a part, you can hear it, there are parts of it on YouTube, but it's Oriya, האם את שומעת? זאת oh goodness, I'll sing it, I will. זאת אני אלייך קוראת, ואני מתגעגעת, ותפילה אלייך נושאת, עשי שלום עלינו, עשי שלום עלינו. And it goes on with the choir. And my mission, beside helping the survivors, is remember and remind that there were 436 victims at the Nova Festival. One of them is my daughter. And my mission is to bring this Kaddish all over the world. I'm working, as we speak, my friends in Israel, on establishing the non-profit, which will name the Ray of Oriya, Keren Or. And all its mission is to spread Oriya's light and the light of all the other victims, and tell the world and those who hate us in your face, this is me. I'm standing. You hurt us terribly. You hate us for no reason, and this is my answer. I'm here. I'm standing. And I will do that for as long as I live. And I want to end with a little optimistic thing, if I may. After the Shiva, when I finally went to Oriya's apartment, I found out that her father, that we are not in very good terms, to say the least, cleaned up the apartment. I didn't have the chance to see the apartment as she left it. And even then, I found a way to be in gratitude. Because if you wouldn't have taken everything, I wouldn't have found this. Oriya loved pink. And I saw this on the floor. It was with the trash. No, it's nothing. It's just a little notebook. And when I looked at the first pages, I saw lists of names. And as Oriya worked in insurance, I said, well, probably these are the people she signed contracts with. I don't know. She was very meticulous, very organized. So I said, okay, I'm taking it. I put it in my bag, and I went home. I didn't have home yet. I stayed with friends. And one night I just, went through the pages, and I saw that there were doodles inside. Just all kind of things that she wrote, drew. And then I found what I took as a mantra. And you have to understand, Oriya grew up with mantras, telling her all the sayings, that she's smart and beautiful and capable and talented, and she can achieve whatever she wants, and she deserves it. In Hebrew it rhymes, את חכמה, את מוכשרת, את יפה, ואת יכולה להשיג כל מה שאת רוצה, ומגיע לך. And then suddenly, I saw the first mantra. It was with a spelling mistake. You deserve more. I share that with you. I don't show it usually. I put it aside, this notebook. So, you deserve more. And then I turned to the next page. It says, I deserve more. And, it kind of hit me that, wow, I did well. I taught her well. I gave her everything she actually needed. And from all the apartment, I got what I needed. Because it's like she told me, you deserve more. She gave me back everything I gave her. The next page, she was, making sure that I got it. I deserve more twice. And then I came to the page where it made me cry a lot, but made me stronger. And it says, I deserve to be happy, ! And next to it, Mommy's smile. The smiley I used to sign to draw by my name. Always, with every card I gave her, there was this smile. So I knew she carried me with her all the time. So this is my mantra. This is what I want you to take from this. I deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. And it's our choice whether we are going towards that or we give up. It's our choice to be. And my mom, my beloved mom, who died a year before Oriya, she always told me, everyone has a package. And it's up to you how you carry that. And I remember how she used to say, you can carry it like that, or you can carry it like that. And this is what I choose to do. And I hope each and every one of you will do the same. Be there for yourself and be there for us as a community. And we are the light in this dark world. And we have to shine and try hard. Thank you.
Wow. I
have this, if anyone, I don't have a lot, but if you want the sticker with her handwriting, pink of course, I deserve to be happy, because I want you to remember that you do deserve to be happy. So I have some and I'll share it with you.
So I have lots of questions, but beforehand I just want to say how lucky we are to have someone so intimately connected to the story of the Nova Festival, who is expressing through music, through such eloquent reflections, how we should feel about what happened there, because this is something that affected dozens and dozens of people.
Everyone.
And we've hosted here at the Synagogue survivors of the Nova Festival, and it's been so difficult for them to find their voice. And parents of victims, it's rare to find a parent who's, especially in English, can communicate so eloquently.
Deutsch geht auch.
And German.
Ja.
And just incredible to have you here offering such perspective. Where do you find the strength inside of you to stand here in front of strangers or sit here in front of strangers and tell the story, which is clearly still so raw for you? Where does it come from? And you're doing this over and over and over again, traveling with the Nova Festival and speaking in other synagogues.
It's not only the Nova, I'm doing it for me. It's the Nova uses me. Kidding. As I said before, I don't ask questions. I simply do. I choose to do. And I'm not not the kind of person that will commit suicide. No. So I know that I'm going to live. You know, death will come eventually, but I don't know when. You know, people like me know exactly that the death's knock on the door doesn't ask you anything, just arrives. But until that day comes, I'm going to live. And I don't know any other way to live but to do. And there is a mission. There is a mission. I'm a proud Jew, very proud. Not very observed, but the heritage of Judaism is just built in me, and I'm not going to ignore it. And I see people break down, and I can't stay indifferent. And I see this anti-Semitism growing like crazy. And I say that if I will not speak now, then no one will speak afterward. And I need to bring as many people as possible to come and speak. And do not hide your Judaism because you're afraid. We have to stay united because one is weak, but as a group, we're stronger. And even if we're outnumbered for the Islamic whatever, and our friends who hate us so much, we are a strong group. And we have to take advantage of that. We are strong, we are smart, we are capable. And we must choose this. So, I don't ask questions, I do. I invite you all to do.
Just telling the story, we see how difficult it is for you to go through this over and over again. Is it all just coming from, you know, I guess I'm saying I don't really believe you, that it's just I do. Like, this is much more difficult than that. It's got to be coming from somewhere deep inside where you feel like you want to go through the trauma of reliving this moment in your life again.
But listen, I go through this trauma whether I speak in front of people or I am alone at home.
Does it help to tell the story?
I never asked that question. It's I break to pieces a few times a day, and but maybe it's showing all of you that I break to pieces in front of you, and yet I'm sitting here and I'm telling you to stand tall. It's I'm a daughter of a Holocaust survivor. My mom is from Romania. She was a kid when the Nazi came in, and they luckily, really on the last moment, they managed to hide, and they spent months in hiding until the liberation. My father's family in Holland. I told Lou on the card, everybody thinks that the Netherlands is a friendly country, but it's the only country where 93% of the Jews were murdered. 93%, it's the only country in Europe or in the world in general. Even in Poland it was, I think, 80% or a little bit less. Holland, 93%. They were cooperating with the Nazis, and 93% of my own family also perished in the Holocaust. So I grew up with numbers, and I saw how they built their life. And I saw my mom, through all her difficulties, raising 5 kids, and always telling me, stay strong, stay tall. You can do it. And now I find myself in really the lowest point in my life, and to lose a kid, well, it's not the worst thing. The worst thing is the day after and all the days that come, where I wake up to the reality where she's not there. And I relive everything all the time. And I look for happy moments. As I said, I'm not the happy person I was until October 6th. And I was really a happy person. To see the difference between the photos of October 6th and the photos after, even the photos today, that are in a way better. They're not the happy photos I had before. She was such a fun, funny girl. And she used to call me Mamacita. The voice, I just, to hear it again, to hug her, to smell the hair, and see her giggling. Oh, it's not there. It will never be there. And again, I choose. What time after time after time, even now. You know, I can go to the washroom, you say in Canada, right? Not restroom. You go there, and I can fall apart, or I can choose. Okay, hang in there. You can make it. You can do it. And day by day, sometimes minute by minute, I choose to share her story. I bring her to life, like I brought her to life with the music. I keep her with me when I speak about her. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of parents there, unfortunately, hundreds of them after October 7th. And most of them are not able to speak.
Right.
They are not able to speak. So I do that for them as well. And since March, April actually, when the exhibition was open in New York, I was there, and I told everyone, you know the story of my daughter, but there are 400s like her. So you choose another 2, another 3. Learn about them, and then reach out to the parents. Reach out for them and tell them that you remember their kids, that their kids are not forgotten. Maybe that's one of the reasons back there. I'm thinking of it as I speak, that I'm not going to let my daughter be forgotten. Not as a person, not as a human being, and I'm not going to let anyone forget about October 7th. For me, it's to remember and to remind. Being active is the right thing. And we say, we remember, we're doing a Yom Zikaron and we remember. No, you have to remind. You have to go to your friends and tell them. And if they don't want to hear, you make them listen. Especially your non-Jewish friends. And now the exhibition is going to open on the 23rd of April. Go there. Bring your friend and bring your non-Jewish friends. They need to see. And Ruth Feingold, who is behind the exhibition, an extremely talented and warm-hearted woman, Ruth Feingold, she created the exhibition. She made an incredible job there. Incredible. And you learn about the Nova, you learn about the tribe, you learn about the victims, and you learn about standing up and rising from the ashes, as I do every day. It's a ritual. So, yeah.
Amazing. It's strange how, you were, even before October 7th, you were immersed in the world of Holocaust and memory. And now you're telling us that in more intense ways even than just academically, that this is a core part of your identity. Do you, like, I can't help but sit here and think, the strength that she has must come from all of the studies and an energy and lessons that she's learned from her research, from her work, from the survivors, from those who perished at Terezin.
I would say vice versa. I chose to deal with that because I was so strong. And I was like that as a kid. My father used to call me chutzpanit because I was very opinionated, always. I always stood up against my teachers. I wouldn't let them bully the other kids, even as a 7, 8-year-old. Yeah, that was me. And I guess it's my mom, and that supported me all my life.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, her mom, she was the baba, like a real savta.
Do you feel at all like, in some weird way, it prepared you?
Yeah, there is a sentence in Megillat Esther. I know it's the wrong holiday, but it says, "Umi yodea im lo la'et hazot higat lamalchut." I don't know how to translate that into English.
Who knows if you came to royalty for this day?
It prepared me, but in Hebrew, malchut is not only royalty. It's about getting to a higher spiritual place. This is malchut, malchut shamayim. There is malchut on the aretz, on the land, and malchut shamayim. So when you speak about malchut in Tikvah Kodesh, it's also not only becoming a queen or something, or the wife of the Achashverosh. You got to the higher, elevate your spiritual, and now you can choose to do something or choose to ignore. It was up to Esther, the queen, and I guess it's up to me now. This is my reality. Tell you that I like it? No. And there are days where I want to disappear, to go to sleep and not to wake up to another day of this reality. But reality is there. And again, it's coming back to making the choice. And I can, there are mornings then where I am lying in bed and I don't want to go out. I don't feel like going out. I just want to, get shut the door, and there are mornings like that. But I have amazing friends, and if I don't answer the phone for 3-4 hours, they're knocking on the door, and they won't let me sleep for too long in the morning. But it doesn't happen too often, because I make appointments at 7:30 in the morning, and I started riding horses, because Oriya used to ride horses and she loved horses, and actually this is something I gave her when she was 6, and she kept it all these years. It's a horse. It's a necklace of a horse. So I'm riding horses, and I travel, and I collect happy moments, which gives me the energy to go through another day. And some wonderful people from Toronto gave me an amazing day on Friday. made one of my dreams come true, and it was Niagara Falls. I haven't been there. So he asked me, so what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go to Niagara Falls. I said, okay. And I can say it was a happy day. I went there and I saw this force of nature, this beautiful, it was freezing, but I looked at this and then I realized, somehow we spoke about, I asked if someone fell from the top, all the way down, and she told me that there were people who actually tried to see if they can survive it, and two survived it. And then we got to speak about, it's not enough to jump all the way down. This is pretty easy. But to go away from the water, this power that pushes you down and down and down, and to swim away from it, that's another thing. This is how we survive. And I told her, well, that's exactly how my life looked like. I had this fall. I fell down all the way down, and now I'm under this pressure that pushed me down and down and down, and I fight to swim away. And it's a daily. Every day I fall down all the way from the Niagara Falls. I'm under the water, and I swim away. That's the kind of pain we, the parents, are going through. So I say, maybe it sounds like a cliche, but I make the choice every day. There is this very famous monologue by this wise guy, Shakespeare, have you heard of him? The most famous is, to be or not to be? That is the question. To sleep, to die. It's a wonderful, you should read more than the first phrase. And it's pretty early in the play. And I say, he is so smart, this Shakespeare guy. Because he gives you the choice to be or not to be. And I say, there is no question. You choose to be. Because if you get to the end of the sentence, or not to be, then you're in deep trouble. And I choose to be. There is no question.
Well, you have touched the hearts of every single person in this room. And even though Pesach, as you said, is a difficult holiday for you, you've given us a whole new way of appreciating the people that we have around the table and the blessings that we have during the holiday. I want to pray that God should bless you and give you the strength to keep talking and keep being and keep swimming and keep composing, to have you giving expression to the worst day in my lifetime in Jewish history gives me hope and joy, because you're a gift from God, really.
Never thought of myself as
you are.
this, but thank you.
You are. I don't think there's anybody like you, and I hope everybody will go see the Nova exhibition when it comes. We can go on YouTube. I want to do that after the holiday and see Kaddish Oriya.
Kaddish Oriya.
And to hear you singing again.
Well, you have to help me bring it to Toronto. We were invited to sing the Kaddish on the Jewish Festival music festival in May. So we're going to sing it again in Israel. And there is one in Germany, the Jewish music festival in Germany, in Berlin, that we're going to sing the Kaddish. So I ask of you, make me happy and help me do that. Bring the Kaddish to Toronto.
Your Jewish Music Week, you now have a project. thank you very much.
Thank you all for having me here.
I hope you feel, can I give you a hug? This was...
Always. Always.